So, House of Payne, y'all. If you want to see how ignorant some black women can be, please watch this show. Please understand that you have women out there who are actually like this, and even more petty, and even more bold, and even more emboldened to do some of the dumbest shit you've ever heard of or seen in your life. So, I know I used to watch Tyler Perry shows. I haven't watched them in a while. Apparently they've gotten really, really good and raunchy over the last several years. Especially with the show with the chick, the Madam chick, who I think Eva, I forget her name, but she is about the most beautiful black woman on TV. Forgive me, but yeah, I if I had the body, I'd be one of Madam's gentlemen. Trust me. Anyway, yeah, so Tyler Perry show, House of Payne. So you got this woman on here who actually, let me back up a second. So you got Calvin and Miranda and Laura. Calvin was married to Miranda. Miranda let it be known that she didn't want him no more, so he said, all right, dip, see you, go on about your business. He tried to work it out, but she ultimately decided, Miranda wasn't having it. Calvin said, all right, go on ahead somewhere, I'll be all right. She practically raised his son. They trying to do the co-parenting thing. They encounter some roadblocks. Miss Ella is kind of the barrier between those two to get them to see common sense sometimes. But for the most part, because they're so stubborn, they can't see which end of their ass they're supposed to be on. Anyway, Calvin meets Laura. Laura is, at the time, one of the best things for Calvin because, you know, she love interest. She trying to help him get his life on track, whatever. Here's the problem. Miranda and Laura used to be friends. And at the time that Calvin and Laura hooked up, Miranda was not aware that her ex-husband just hooked up with one of her best friends. Drama, right? So, as this show has drug on, they find out about each other and it makes things really uncomfortable and awkward, thereby driving a wedge between Miranda and Laura and making things awkward as hell between all three of them. With, of course, Miss Ella being the conduit for peace. Ain't nobody gonna start nothing up in her house. So it's automatically known when you come up in my crib, you're gonna leave all that ego and drama at the door because we come into some resolutions up in here. Never had a problem or excessive drama in the Payne household. So, oh boy, this is nuts. Now, you have these back and forths between Miranda, Calvin, and Laura, where now Miranda is on the outside looking in at this relationship between Calvin and Laura. And now we're talking about wedding bells going off with Laura and Calvin. Miranda's pissed. All of a sudden now she starts expressing feelings about Calvin and she loves him. She still loves him and all that. And Calvin's like, get the f*** on somewhere with your broke ass. Like, go on about your business. You didn't want me, so go on ahead somewhere. Go find you something. I got mine. Go on find you something. Meanwhile, this woman Laura ain't no better because now she's starting to, as they're talking deeper and deeper about wedding and family and marriage, now she's basically starting to try to establish boundaries in their relationship where Calvin and her are supposed to be together, and she wants him to distance himself from Miranda, but she also wants the family to kind of distance himself from Miranda and get her out of the picture because she's the wife, the incoming wife, and she wants to get all the attention that they're giving Miranda. Which ultimately led to the showdown that you see going viral on TikTok and social media. So this broad, Laura, I went back and forth through my mind trying to figure out how to defend this woman, trying to somehow give her some type of defense for her actions. I get that Calvin's the man that you're marrying and you want him to establish some boundaries between himself and Miranda because Miranda doesn't want him anymore. So you want him to kind of, ease away from the baby mom situation because, that's the baby mom and, you the wife. So you want everybody to have an understanding like what y'all had you ain't got no more. And I'm gonna need you to kind of slide off so me and him can build. Totally understandable. If you establish boundaries and if you establish proper protocol and procedures when dealing with children, because you got to remember too, they got kids together. They got history. So all that, it's not like you ain't got kids together where you could just be like, all right, I don't want you talking to her no more, or ex-girlfriend, I don't want you talking with her no more, and he just be like, all right, I'm gonna cut that off, and it's gonna be me and you. That's different. This woman showed up to Ella Payne's house and said in front of the entire family, Jasmine, Janine, Curtis, and said in front of the whole family, had the balls, the temerity to say, you are his ex, I am marrying him, I need you to move aside and move out because that's my husband. Boy, when I tell you, the collective gasp of all the people watching, you could have given life to people in 6 cemeteries with all the air that escaped from everybody's lungs when that comment was made. I need you to move up. I need you to move out and get out of the way. Like, what? What do you mean? I understand you want to establish boundaries, but for you to just tell this woman to get out the way. Now, a part of me says, you know what? I understand why she said that. Because she feels threatened. She won't say that she feels threatened. But the fact is she felt threatened behind the fact that that woman, Miranda, first of all, is going to be there. Let's establish one thing. Miranda is the OG of that family. After Janine, Miranda, she's the OG of that family. She not going no damn where, you understand me? Miranda is the connection with Calvin. They have had a lot of issues where she has been there when nobody else wants to step in. Miranda is holding it down for the family. So I can understand that. Has she gotten her petty side over? Yes. Did she absolutely show her true colors when Calvin got shot? Absolutely she did. And to be honest with you, I'm surprised the whole family didn't jump her dumb ass in the hospital that day when she decided she wanted to show her ass out when Calvin got shot. Like it was an inconvenience to her life or something. So, yeah. But when Curtis spoke up, I knew it was a problem. So I'm just trying to understand how black people think. Like, what you mean move up and move aside? Like, that's the mother of his children. That was his wife. I don't understand how that woman thought that she was just going up and just get Miranda up out of here. I just never understood how you thought that was even an option. Not with Ella Payne breathing on this earth. And the part that really got me was Ella actually told her. Ella basically was like, I want to establish, right now that Miranda's not going anywhere. That woman gave birth to my grandchildren. So she will always be welcome in this house and be welcome in this family. You better stay in your lane. You ain't even married to my son yet, and you already trying to make wife decisions. And you just a girl, you just a fiance, you just a buddy right now. You just a little fling. You a little thought right now. Calvin could have picked any other Joan on the show. He could have picked any other Joan, but he chose Laura. And Laura trying to act like a wife before she becomes a wife. Stay in your lane. That's essentially what Miss Ella told her in the nicest way possible. Stay in your lane. This woman then turned her anger from Miranda to Miss Ella. And Miss Ella showed a side of her to us that shocked all us as black people in general. She basically was like, what? I'm gonna need you to get up out of here with all that nonsense, all that energy. Like, we not even gonna do that. And before this, that woman has done systematic things that have basically, because Miss Ella has always been, she not taking sides. But she took a side on this one. She said, no, I don't like Shorty. Shorty is tripping. She trifling. She disrespectful, rude. Then Laura had the nerve to go get her mama after she done disrespected the Payne household, disrespected Miss Ella, disrespected everybody in the house, disrespected the whole situation. After she gets told to leave thrice, she then goes and tells her mama, and her mama shows up to the door. Now, granted, I done seen a lot of people ragging on the mom, and I forget her name at the moment, but I see a lot of people ragging on her mom about the way that her mom came to the house. I'ma say this, her mom was hella more respectful than she was. Laura mom, I give Laura mom credit. Laura mom didn't come in belligerent. She didn't come in stank. Delusional as hell, yes. But that's her child. If I was in a situation like that and I found out that my child had an issue with somebody's parents, I'm not gonna go up in there and be like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? No. I'm gonna go in with my defenses up, because you never know. My child could be in the right. I'ma always defend my child. Don't get that fucked up. I'ma defend my child. And if I feel like my child didn't do what is said that's being done, or what they're telling me, I can only go by what I'm being told. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. And that's what her mom did. Her mom came believing that her child was mistreated, and she wasn't. Her child was given every single chance to come correct, and she didn't. So yeah, Miss Ella had a right to cuss her out. Miss Ella had a right to tell her to get out her house. Miss Ella had a right to treat her the way she did, because she came incorrect. Moms only came to see about the situation to find out what happened. Do I think this situation can be resolved between them? Yes. Here's the problem. You got the old heads telling the young folk how to move and how to behave. And Miss Ella ain't kin to Laura. Laura just a trifling little fiance. But I will say this. When Curtis delivered that line about how, with conjecture and all that, that was the coldest line I heard, the way he said it. He didn't try to get goofy with it. He was just like, she came up in here and disrespected everybody, and that's why I said she had a stink attitude. Curtis stood up and was like, When Curtis speak, you know you done fucked up. But my thing is this. Calvin is the real problem in this entire situation. Yeah, I said it. Calvin Calvin is dude. Calvin should have dumped that chick the first time. That situation ain't gonna work out, I don't think. Calvin need to dump that chick and dump her now. He need to cut her off and be like, I'm out. Like, you, first of all, that woman, Laura, has disrespected their family so many times and has disrespected Miranda more times than I care to count. When she gripped up his son and Miranda was about to choke her out, Calvin should have been like, chick, nah, you gotta go, bruh. We not doing that. We not doing that. Miranda is the mother of his children. You don't do that. That ain't gonna fly with me. That ain't gonna fly with nobody with some sense. Calvin should have done that there, but he gave her another shot. He was like, all right, cool. But Calvin got to put his and say, look, Trick, you gonna step up and step in line, and you gonna get the we not doing this. As far as I'm concerned, when she disrespected Miss Ella, that should have been the end game right then and there. That should have been a wrap. Like, you got my mom upset. We don't. Nope. That's a done deal right there. That's a deal breaker. You can't. You disrespected moms. You disrespected my niece. You disrespected my peoples, my pops. You disrespected my household. I can't have that. You disrespected my parents' house. I can't have that. You went over there and acted a whole and then want to come crying talking about they mistreated me. They made me feel like I'm an outsider. Because you are a Trick. Stay in your lane. Stay in your place. You the side piece right now. You ain't even married to the boy. And you acting like you the number one. You ain't wifey. You ain't got no ring. Calvin ain't put a ring on your finger yet. You talk about you want to get married and you being disrespectful? No, Calvin got that now. He got that and that right now. That ain't gonna fly with me. Sorry.